We tend to think that with most things in life, more experience makes harder things easier. And this is true for a lot of little things, like the basics become easier. But in general, experience actually can make things harder. Just think about the last time you ran a big race, and then when the registration opened for another big race. Did you think, oh, that'll be easier? Or did you have a bit more of an understanding of just how hard it would be? Hi, if you're new here, my name is Daniel Steamer. I'm a multi certified endurance sports coach specializing in running for adults. I've personally run over 130 races, including 3 marathons, 2 ultras, 3 half Ironman, and in less than a week, I'm doing my 4th half Ironman. And on top of all that, I coach everyday adult athletes from their first race to their biggest adventures. So, what is it about experience that makes us think harder things will get easier? Well, it's because in our day to day, experience makes the routine easy. Think about when you learned to drive. The first time you drove, it was probably really stressful. You were really anxious. Everything mattered really deeply to you. You spent a lot of time paying attention to every little detail. But fast forward several years, and most of that has become automatic. The routine becomes automatic. And that is how we like to think about experience working. That when we become experienced enough with something, we don't really think about the minutiae, the little details that used to eat up all our time in the beginning. But there's a flip side to experience. We also know the difficulties of hard things. When you've done a hard thing before, you know exactly what it costs. And in endurance sports, this is where people get tripped up because a lot of people will sign up for their first big challenge, whether that's stepping up to their first half marathon or stepping up to their first marathon or ultra or triathlon or Spartan race, you name it, with a certain naivete, a not really knowing what they're getting into. And the novelty and the excitement of the newness overrides a lot of those fears during the sign up process and the preparation. But once you've done the big thing, once you've finished the race, once you've struggled through it, and you know exactly how hard it was and what it costs you, that can weigh on you when it's time to sign up for the next one. First timers get to say, I didn't know it was going to be that hard. But experienced people don't have that excuse. They knew exactly what they were getting into. And this applies to more than just the sign up process, although that's where that evaluation is probably the strongest, but through the training. When you sign up for something like a marathon or a big triathlon and you know you need to put in 3 to 4 months of training, you can evaluate what that's going to cost you and what that's going to feel like because you've done it before. And then once you're in it and you're halfway through and you're struggling with sleep or your diet's off or you're starting to show signs of an injury or something, same deal. You know exactly what that means. There is no, I don't know. I'm going to just kind of go with it. As somebody with the experience, you know the costs and the weight of these bumps in the road. And so, as a veteran racer signing up for a big new challenge, that's what makes it different is that you have full information. You have completely informed consent of what you are signing yourself up for. So it isn't all doom and gloom. There's a lot of benefits to having experience. You build up a stress tolerance. When you expose yourself to hard things, you learn you can do hard things so you can do them again. And this is the same way we condition ourselves against fear. When you're afraid of something, if you face it, you know you can face it again. And so it becomes less scary as things move on. So in that sense, veteran racers aren't necessarily tougher. They're just more calibrated. They know that they can get through tough things because their brain has logged repeated evidence of their capability to do it. They know that if they cramp halfway through the race, that they can get through it. They know that if they underfuel or underhydrate, how to handle that. They know if they get an injury, how to handle that. And it's not that veteran racers don't have anxiety around this stuff. Just because they know how to handle things doesn't mean that there's no unknowns. You do this a format you're familiar with, like a marathon in a different location, there's still going to be uncertainty. There's still going to be potential for risk that you're going to have to face. So, as I said in the intro, I've done 3 half Ironman races before, and I'm about to do my fourth one in just a few days. But this is the first one I traveled for. So, even though I've done this before, there is still anxiety around the newness of it, the newness of traveling with my bike, the newness of swimming in a river, the newness of being in a city that I don't know the layout of. As much as I can study the maps of where the course is going to be, there is still a lot to potentially be anxious about. It's just that because I've done these before, I know I can handle it. And that is the concept of informed commitment. It's not that I've eliminated uncertainty, it's just that I'll be able to make clear choices in the moment because of the experience I have in the past. And I've seen this with clients and friends too. I live in a location that's fortunate enough to have 3 major half and full marathons a year. It's called the Beach City Challenge if you do all 3 back to back. They happen in February, May, and October. And a lot of people I know will sign up for these repeatedly. And even though they know the course, they've done it multiple times, every year when it comes around and they're about to do one of these races, there's always this kind of uncertainty where they, I've heard people say, I just don't get excited in the same way. But I think I kind of want it more for that reason. So because of that experience they have, what they're expressing is that they feel like they can attack the course with more intensity, go for a specific PR or some kind of other goal that they're setting for themselves. But they also know from experience how tough the course is, how challenging it is, how hot it can be out there at certain times of year, and how much of a struggle it can be. And ultimately, that's where the distinction lies between new and veteran. A new runner does it for the novelty and the experience of something new. A veteran runner does it because of what the process does for them. It makes them a stronger person. It builds them up even tougher. It teaches them that they can handle tough stuff repeatedly. And so that's why experience can be a double-edged sword. When you don't have it, you're signing up with a blindfold on. You're signing up because something sounds exciting. When you do have experience, you know exactly what you're getting into. There's no excuses. You know how challenging the race is going to be. You know how challenging the training is going to be. And for the runners and racers who do sign up for these challenges over and over and over again, knowing full well what they're getting themselves into, how much of a struggle the race will be, how much of a challenge the training and prep for it will be, those are the ones who constantly are pushing their limits and growing their capacity to take on even bigger and cooler adventures as a racer and living their lives as a runner to their fullest. So for the first timer, ignorance isn't a weakness. It's just the only way to do your first race in a new format. You don't know any better until you've done it. And for the veteran, the doubts don't disappear. Your relationship with the sport just changes. It goes from concerns to something you embrace intentionally. There's a version of you that exists only on the other side of hard things, and the only way to meet that person is to keep signing up to do them. If you find this type of content useful, please subscribe. My goal with this channel is simple: to give all athletes the information they need to train well and live their biggest adventures.